So I just want to like get a shot of this tree at what it is now, so I can figure out. Okay, so
yeah, it's good. So I'll sort of show you what happened. So they grafted on to these things down here. You know, like they put a little chip bud
yeah,
in there, and it grew up in 1 year. You know, probably this tall, like this piece here. Okay, it grew up here, and then they cut it to here. I just imagine that's what you got it when it was cut to there, and this all grew last year.
gotcha.
Okay. And
Actually, they were a little taller than that. They were actually pretty darn tall when we got it.
oh, yeah.
I can't tell you exactly how.
Well, usually you can see like there's a, well, like on this one, you can see how it sort of scrunches up. It's got those little things. So this was, they cut it here, and then it grew up to here, and then last year it grew that much further.
All right.
You see how this has
Yeah.
how it sort of gets all wrinkly there instead of straight and smooth. And here's the spot where.
So that's sort of how far it goes in a year.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know, it was cut here, and then it grew out like that.
So there's actually, I mean, it seems like there's actually a lot of good branches on it.
Yeah. It's great what you did, spreading them out, because pears usually tend to grow straight up and all crowd out together. So spreading it out has been great. It's been good.
And would you do that again, like with these guys, and sort of spread them again? Or is it better just to cut some of these off and?
Well, let's see. Okay, well, first of all, what I do is if you have two branches growing parallel to each other, you want to take one out. Okay, so I take this one out because it's smaller.
All right.
And then, okay, so you've got several different varieties, so we'll look at each one sort of as its own tree. So what I wouldn't even prune this guy because he's so small. Okay, I take this guy out because he's going to just get too crowded in there. And then this, I'm going to cut it to there, and it'll push out a new growth there, and hopefully it'll make some more flower buds, you know. And I'm going to do the same with this one right there, okay?
And what's the reason of like clipping it back aside from? I mean, it looked like it was just going to go straight anyway.
When you cut it, it reduces that apical dominance thing, but also it stimulates it to make flower buds down in here, you know, which are the fatter ones. Like, see, this has got all, it's, you know how fat it is in the end, and this one was, you know, well, it was skinny, you know. So these would probably be flowers here, you know.
Gotcha. So even if you're not like clipping off much distance, you're encouraging more flowers.
Yeah, you're encouraging it. Like, I don't know if you've seen apple trees that haven't been pruned. They just go really tall, and then they sort of bend over, and then just become a big jumbled mess. You still get apples, but you only get small ones because there's so many.
Right.
So your reason for pruning is to keep it within your reach, you know.
Yeah.
And then also you keep it thinned out, so and then because it'll just produce a ton of flowers.
Right.
So, and fruit. And then you get small fruit, and we want nice big fruit. So, you know, because like if you didn't prune this at all, it would be, you know, like up above your roof next year, you know.
Yeah. So we just did this one.
Yeah. So that's all I would do on that one. And this guy here, I'd probably just do the same thing. I'm cutting it to the buds that are facing out. Okay. You know, like this one here. See how this bud is facing this way?
Yeah.
I'll probably cut it to there because I'd like it to grow this way even, you know,
So it's not growing toward itself.
Yeah, you don't want it growing into the center. And, another reason you prune a tree is because it's a flower, it needs sunlight on it.
Yeah.
And what will happen is you'll get a thick canopy up top, and you'll get all your fruit up there, but there won't be any down in here.
Because it's not getting any sunlight in there.
Yeah. And you don't have that problem now, but in a few years that might become a problem. And then so this guy here, well, see, it looks like it had gotten, you know, something happened to the end of it there.
Blue jay.
and this could be a flower there, so I'm going to cut it to that one because it's not a flower bud. See how that is?
So the big fat ones are the flower buds.
Yeah. That's usually you're gonna get flowers from those. Yeah.
Okay, so we did these two.
Yeah.
And this guy, you'd leave on there?
I just leave it. Yeah, yeah. You might get some fruit off there. Yeah, and, yeah.
Okay, cool. And so we
Now
got
this one here,
it's way up there.
yeah. I think in a year you might want to take one of these off, but right now you're going to get fruit on all three of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that one's got like the biggest, fattest flower buds too.
yeah, this one right here is real nice. If I was going to take any out, I would take this one out because it's grown towards the center of the tree.
Huh, okay.
But since you've it's a young tree, you don't want to prune it heavily because all the leaves are like making photosynthesis, so it's feeding the whole tree.
Okay.
So, like maybe, like next year you could take this one out, but for now I would just tip it to grow, like grow out like that.
Sure.
And then these guys too, I do the same, have them grow out that way. And I don't know if you can see, when I tip it, I put it on an angle just a little bit, and that way the water sheets off of it, and you don't cut down to the bud, you don't want to hurt the bud, and you don't want to leave too much of a stick on the top, but just above it like that.
That's just sort of the way that makes it go the best.
Yeah. If you leave too much on there, it might start to rot, and then it creeps back in. And if you cut it too close, the bud will dry out. Cool. And this guy here is your most vigorous one, which is real nice. I see how there's these two are run right next to each other.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take this one out.
Okay.
And I would almost want to cut it down to there, but I'm not gonna.
So those you're just clipping so they sort of
them, yeah.
go away.
Okay, now see how this guy is like really leaning out? So I'm gonna cut it to a bud growing up.
That makes good sense.
Because if you since it's doing this, you cut to a bud growing down, it's going to grow down like that,
Sure.
And then these guys are going to hit it with their car or something.
Yeah, I think over time we're probably just going to have to keep cutting that one back anyway.
Yeah. But you'll get some nice fruit. You can see the flower buds forming everywhere. And I'm going to cut it to the outside on this one as well. I mean, on the inside.
Cool.
So that's a real light pruning, like a lot of times, sometimes you can cut all these back hard, but since your tree is a good shape right now, next year when these push out some, you might want to cut those back harder,
Just because like this will have filled out some and there'll just be more.
I mean, like this will put out growth out of here and here, you can see how they put out like 3, somebody cut it there and it put out 3. Now, if that was up here, like you probably want to, cut them, I could have cut these back harder, but we want to have them make fruit spurs all along in here,
So as the tree gets bigger, there's going to be more.
You'll prune it harder up there, yeah.
Because it's just overall got more branches and there's going to be more fruit coming out.
Yeah, it'll have a bigger root system and it'll be pushing out more stuff and everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
And this, so like next year, this is probably growing down-ish, and that's
well. If it's got fruit spurs on it, that would be okay. Yeah. I mean, but if it's got, see how this has no fruit spurs on it, it's just growing.
Oh, okay.
Like if you got something that's doing that, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
As long as it's not in the ground or in the dirt, it's probably.
Take the fruit.
If you can pick your fruit right here, that's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then just watch that these guys, loosen them. Occasionally, so that they don't constrict and stuff like that.
These actually could be loosened up. These were the new ones that we put on.
Yeah, because they'll start swelling a lot, and when it starts to be the growing season, that's its growing spurt. So
it's time for us to loosen those then.
Yeah.
Cool. And you wouldn't like spread these branches at all?
Well, you could if you want. These two maybe. But see, what they'll do is they'll get fruit on them, and eventually they'll spread out. But,
Okay.
I mean, sure, you could if you want. Yeah. Like I said, I'd probably take this one out next year.
Okay.
Because hopefully this will grow up more, and this is a different variety, so you don't want this to shade out the rest of the tree.
Yeah, and this is sort of the variety with the least on it right now.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know which variety we like the most yet either.
Right.
But cool. Thanks so much, Shane.
Sure. Yeah. No problem. And then Dr. Earth, start feeding them every couple of months with that.
Yep.
And you got to mix it into your mulch and stuff, because if you don't, it's I don't know if you've used it, but it's the water just sort of goes right over it, So you got to mix it in with some dirt.
Yep. In fact, we just fertilized all our other trees, but
Yeah.
we didn't get this one. So,
Especially your citrus. Citrus really likes to be fertilized every couple of months.